I knew when the GT, the removal of the seat post, this debacle happened, that I left the shop in absolute disarray, a mess. The thing that I said to myself I didn't want to do anymore when I had kind of like consolidated all the bikes into the other shed and said, this one's gonna be clean every time I leave. And I knew that I left too upset, and I knew that I left a mess, and I've been dreading to come back in. But honestly, not actually the worst that I've left it. So I'm just gonna like take a minute. Fixed. So no doubt all of you are absolutely, utterly, completely, in every way, shape, and form familiar with our specialized rock hopper here. Sometimes we call it the Grouch. Wild amount of content consumed regarding this thing. But one thing that I don't think has been particularly clear in the build-up and kind of like the design and everything behind it was the decisions in a few of the components. Because I knew that I wanted to do the green Panaracer Gravel King tires, that was a non-negotiable. I knew that I wanted drop bars and like drop bar drivetrain, road drivetrain, that was non-negotiable as well. Everything else was up in the air. Everything else I kind of just was like, whatever I can get my hands on will work. But more notably, and maybe not obviously, the bar selection, the stem selection, and the seat post selection, along with the saddle as well, were literally just, oh gosh, I need something, what can I put on? Now let me tell you something about the stem. The stem was actually a purchase that I made because it had a lower stack height than other stems on the market. This stem was originally supposed to go on the Schwinn Moab, and I thought that would work. It actually never showed up, and that's why I bought the Cintas Flat Force for the Schwinn, which actually worked out better. And then a month later, this just randomly showed up in the mail. And as I was building this, I was like, oh, sick. This has a really long top tube. That stem will work. And actually, the same sort of story holds true for the handlebar selection. These are called Pro Adventurers or something. I just happened to be at a friend of mine's shop. While I was in there, I was like, Colin, do you have any flared drop bars in stock that I could buy right now? And he did. This is what he had. This is what was in stock. And I just bought them. I was like, okay, sounds good. What I originally wanted was a set of salsa cowbells, whatever the ones that like don't have quite as like, these are a relatively aggressive flare, I find. They're wide. They're wider than I wanted. I'm still not actually happy with like the excessive width. I don't like the look of the drop. And then the seat post. This is actually the seat post from the Poseidon X. I like that it's zero setback, 2-bolt design, so you can get your seat angle where you want it. But I feel I owe this bike so much for like some of the success of this channel, along with just how fun it is to ride and how nice it is to look at. And one thing that my friend Frank and I always said was a bike is not truly finished until the bar, stem, and seat post match. That's the day that you know a bike is done, refined, and it's the way it's gonna be. So considering just about every touch point on this thing is just, today we're fixing that. Enter into the frame a big old box of parts. So remember my latest very clickbaity titled Q&A where someone was like, are you gonna like reach out to brands to try and get parts to like review or show on the channel? And my response to that was, here's a huge list of companies that I reached out to that I'd be interested in working with, and we'll see what happens. Well, in response, one of my probably like dream companies to work with got back to me and said, yeah, that sounds awesome. What do you want? 1, cool. 2, I've got so many ideas. But top of the list, matchy parts chosen specifically for the Rock Hopper's finishing kit and for the fit. That would be cool. So what did I decide to go with for the Rock Hopper? A set of Ritchey Ergomax Comp aluminum handlebars, a Ritchey World Championship Series Trail Stem, and a Ritchey World Championship Series Trail Post. I actually originally requested the Comp series, like the less expensive versions of each of these, mostly just because I wanted to like shine the light on how affordable the comp versions of all of their parts are, but they weren't in stock. So here I am with slightly nicer parts than I would like normally go for. So the thought process behind the parts chosen to put onto the rock hopper goes a little bit like this. The Pro Discover bars that were on there feature a 32-degree flare. That's just kind of not my style. These Ergomaxes have a 12-degree flare, so like 2/3 less than what was on there before, which I personally rather ride and look at. You'll also notice the slight rise at the clamp area. It's 10 mils higher at the clamp area, which is beneficial for this bike because it is so long and it's quite low in the front because it kind of straddles the line between mine and Angela's size bike. So having the bar have a little bit of rise keeps me from having to like raise the quill stem adapter, which would just be lame. It's also probably the biggest reason that I decided to go with this bar for the rock hopper. The lesser amount of flare and my preference of the curve of the drop are just bonuses, like cherries on top. Beyond the specs and the numbers of the Ergomax, the other really enticing part is the price of the comp level stuff. $50. Stem-wise, I purposely went with a mountain bike so that I could get the length that I wanted. None of the road stems in the Ritchey lineup go any lower than I think 60 mils. So jumping down to the trail stem allowed me to go with the 45 mil that I wanted to get. It also has the added bonus of having that longer stack area, so there's no need for complaining about a spacer on the quill stem adapter area anymore. It looks good. The polishing on the faceplate plays nicely with the quill stem adapter as well, so that all works together pretty good. Another added benefit of going with the mountain stem is its 0 degrees drop or rise, so you gain a little bit of height there as well. So when I'm riding this thing as a non-racer, because it's not a racer, it's not super, super low and super far forward. Being able to deal with that without having like a long, gaudy quill adapter sticking too far out and everything just like looks where it should be is a benefit. Seat post wise, I actually just wanted to go with the comp 2-bolt 0 offset, but there weren't any in stock. So the appropriate stem matching 2-bolt 0 offset trail post was sent in its place, and honestly was definitely the right decision for the aesthetics of this. Basically what all that did, beyond having a properly matching seat post to the stem, solved most, if not all, fit problems that this thing has for Angela and I to both be able to ride it. The increased stack of the trail stem fills the adapter perfectly, so that's probably like my favorite part right now. That was the true advantage of being able to look at everything in the catalog and like make those decisions based on what they had to offer and what this bike needed. The fact that it all matches and the bike is like done, except for wheels, is just pretty cool. I think we should probably go ride it. Well, it was my intention for this video to continue on with like riding footage and stuff, but forgot to put an SD card back in my camera, so I'm using my phone that's about to die, and maybe we'll get one shot going down this